Welcome along to the third episode of the Grime Scene Investigation podcast. My name's Blondy, I'm here with T. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. You blessed?
Yeah, not bad, man. I mean, it's been like last episode, man. Like straight away, like big up Wiley for sharing that. Big up Wiley for following the Grime Scene Investigation Twitter account. Like how that got me so gassed when I saw that. DWE liked the tweet as well, man. Like got a lot of love on the last episode. So big up everyone that was listening to that, sharing that. We really appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to start with Wiley calling out Skepta and Dizzee again. This is a reaction because Dizzee did an interview with Yizzy, didn't he? They did an interview and Dizzee called out. Well, he didn't call him out, but it's an indirect, and he's saying, "Oh, I invented grime. Everyone thinks Wiley did, but he didn't." And this isn't the first time Dizzee said something like this. When we recorded 2 weeks ago, Dizzee had done an interview with Julie Adenuga and said something similar. But then this is what I think Wiley's frustrated about. He's hearing all these indirects from Dizzee, and he's just fucking about, really, just saying things and he wants this to be like a proper clash, or at least get some war dubs going, not just saying things, because that's not how grime works, is it?
Well, no, exactly. That's not how grime works. And when you're a person like Wiley, I think he's a reactionary soul. So if you say something that upsets him, you're going to get a reaction. And Wiley's way of dealing with things is to say, right, look, boom, you're indirecting me, come clash me. Like, don't indirect, come and clash me, come see me face to face on the road, and we sort it out once and for all. But personally, I feel when you're probably 1 and 2 and you're both heralded as the two guys who started off grime, although Wiley's called the Godfather, I don't think you can take Dizzee's input away. And when you're considered both of them, I think, you know what, I don't really know, love, really, to be honest, because I don't think Dizzee's ever going to clash Wiley. So I don't know if it's just Wiley hoping, or Wiley wanting it, or Wiley just trying to get a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, because Wiley obviously has this vision of the two of them linking up on the street, and then just like you can imagine, like hundreds of men around them, just like, and there's just this circle, and then they're just going for it. I can't see that. I can't see that happening. And then when Dizzee obviously keeps quiet as he always does, then Wiley sort of turns to Skepta. It's kind of like this is deja vu, bruv. This is what happened last year. Do you remember when Wiley went on that? Like he was in his car and he was going mad because Skepta was doing a tune with Dizzee and flipped the table and all that. And it's like it feels like this is happening again, and the same reactions. Wiley's pissed off. He's and rightly so, to be fair. And he's going, all right, let's do this proper, because that's what Wiley's always been about. Whenever someone said something, he's straight on the offence. He's straight making a dub, or he's saying something, And then Dizzee's just gone quiet again, and then Skepta did the same last time, but then eventually did drop a dub. So it's like it's the same thing over and over again, really. And it's like I think all of us would just love to see Dizzee sort of pull your finger out and go and actually clash him, go and have it out, bruv. We've been waiting for long enough. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing, though. You're talking about two guys who have made money. They're now in the spotlight. They've gone commercial. Dizzee and Skepta, I'm talking about. Do they really need to clash? I don't think they do. I think it's just like Wiley should be where they are as well, to be honest. But obviously, it quite isn't at the moment. But I just think when you're that commercial and that, there's nothing for you to clash for. Like, you've done that, Skepta's done that, Dizzee's done that. Dizzee had like Crazy Tits, Skepta had Devilman, obviously. And I just think there's no reason for them to do it anymore. They're commercial now, they're working with massive artists. And although we would love to see it, don't get me wrong, the whole grime scene would love to see Wiley v Dizzee. It's just not going to happen, and it's getting a bit tedious, to be honest now. It's not going to happen, Wiley. Like, just carry on making banger after banger, please.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, bro. And that's what I thought as well for a long time. But then you keep seeing Dizzee mentioning Wiley, so it's like, what's the point of that? Why are you saying these things? Why if you're going to keep calling his name out, why don't you actually back it with some? I completely agree. But that's because I thought earlier I thought Dizzee didn't really care, but obviously he does. Otherwise, why would he keep mentioning his name? It's kind of like, is it just promotion for his new album that's coming out, or what? Because
Possibly. But then again, I think it's deeper than just Grime, innit? Like Wiley and Dizzee, it goes a bit deeper than Grime. So, like Dizzy's got his reasons why he don't want to, and Wiley's got his reasons why he wants to. But it's getting a bit boring. Like,
yeah, it goes all the way back to Napa, doesn't it? And and ever since then, there's been war dubs and stuff, but Dizzee hasn't made any like dub for Wiley for ages. I think the last one was, I could be wrong, but I think the last one was The Other Side on Rasket, and he called out Wiley on that. But then that's it, and that was what, nearly 3 years ago now. So what's the point? Like, if you're just going to keep mentioning Wiley's name. And this is the thing, because I said this before, I think Dizzy's kind of losing a bit of that relevancy now. He doesn't have the same impact that he used to, in that, you see Dizzee on a feature, it instantly sells out. That doesn't happen anymore. It seems like, even though I don't think Dizzy's got anything to prove and he's a legend and everything, I feel like he does still want to be relevant, but doesn't really know how these days. I don't know if the times have left him behind a little bit or something, but now he's sort of resorting to calling Wiley out every week on interviews and stuff, and it's like, I don't really understand this.
I don't know, man. I think it's just a bit of a pagan move from Wiley. Sorry, not Wiley, Dizzee. To be honest, like I don't think he wants to clash, but I think he wants to just keep having little sly digs. You get me? Like, every now and then he'll just mention something about Wiley or an incident involving Wiley. But I don't think he actually wants to clash. I think he just wants to have a little indirect all the time. And he's never going to clash Wiley. It's never going to happen, especially not on the road with like a 3210 and about 100 geezers around them. It's just...
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because like, even if this did happen, which obviously I agree with you, I don't think it will. Dizzee is so rusty, bro. When was the last time he clashed anyone? Like, Wiley, let's be real, yeah. Wiley would murk him on the road, bruv. And Wiley knows this. And Dizzee knows this. This is why Dizzee will never step up to it. And Wiley, it's just what... So that's the frustrating thing. If you're going to... Hopefully, Dizzee drops his album and there's a dub on it for Wiley. Oh, that would be cool. Like, but then it's just this... It's strange as well, because in these two interviews, Dizzy's gone, I invented grime, Wiley didn't invent grime. That's like his main thing. That's the agenda he's trying to push. And by the way, that's not really a relevant conversation anyway. It's like, kind of what, it doesn't matter, does it? And it's like, well, you're bringing that up, and then just randomly, no one's asked you who invented grime. You're sat there, do you know what I mean? Like, you keep saying it, and then he's been saying things. He said, oh, why don't I have an OBE? Blah blah blah, and stuff like that, and do you know what it is? Let's be real right now. Wiley is much bigger than Dizzee. Godfather's bigger than anything Dizzy's done in the last few years. Boasty's been bigger, and all these, My One, Da Vinci Bag. I think if Dizzee was making tunes like that, he'd be loving that. I think Dizzee would secretly swap positions with Wiley right now in terms of sort of success. That's what I genuinely think, and I think Wiley's more relevant than Dizzee. That might be why Dizzee keeps calling him out, because he's sort of leaning on that old beef and trying to bring it up. So then, people, oh yeah, Dizzee, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, boy in the corner. So people are remembering those times, and then maybe this is just a big publicity stunt. Which, again, you say that's a pagan move, isn't it? It's just being a pagan. He's just winding up Wiley without any intention of actually backing it.
Exactly that. And I just think it's a bit childish, to be honest. I think I don't know, but that's a good debate. That would be a good debate, like who's more relevant in like all terms, not just grime, because obviously it's Wiley, but commercially as well, because they both scored a couple of number ones each. But then Dizzy's got the Mercury Award and Wiley's got the OBE or MBE, whatever one it is. So yeah, that'd be a good debate.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think Dizzee overall has had a bigger peak for sure. When Dizzee peaked, it was like, he was doing, like we said, he was doing stuff with Shakira and all the others. Yeah, like he was no one was bigger than Dizzee. And Wiley's never enjoyed a peak quite like that. I don't think. I think wearing a Rolex, you know, like in terms of commercial peaking and people globally knowing your name, I think, you know, obviously it would be wearing a Rolex and it would be boasty.
And no, to be fair, sorry, to be fair, he did have "Never Be Your Woman" and that summer anthem. What was the tune? Heat Wave, which both I think they went number one each. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I agree with you. He's never really had that same sort of impact as what Dizzee did. I mean, Dizzee was everywhere. There was people who I would never associate with listening to that kind of music who knew who Dizzee was. You know what I mean? And they were saying about, oh, you know, stand up tall and all them sort of tracks, and he was talking about it. Whereas with Wiley, apart from Heatwave, because everyone was going mad about Heatwave at the time, no one really knows that great deal about him unless you're a Grime fan, if you get me.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Wiley, why he hasn't had that peak, he's had the consistency of, you know, never quite being. He's never had the same peak as Dizzee, but he's lasted longer. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think right now Dizzee has slipped below Wiley in terms of, and obviously Skepta as well. Skepta's he's blown as well. He's riding his peak right now as well, and has been for the last few years. Although I think he's might I would argue he maybe slightly declined, but you know because now Stormzy and people like that are like the new sort of what are peaking like how Dizzee and Skepta used to.
Stormzy is very consistent compared to the others. I think Stormzy just comes out like every track he drops goes top 10. You know what I mean? It's just remarkable what he's doing. But in terms of the others, I agree with you fully. I think Skepta's on the decline a little bit, whether that's because he hasn't dropped too much. But yeah, I fully agree with you there.
I mean, to be fair, Skepta he dropped "Ignorance Is Bliss" this year, and he's been on tour all year, and it's been popping off. We can all see on the Instagram and that. But yeah, I think Wiley's just been he's always been there. He's always been relevant, not as relevant as others. He's never been like maybe he's never been the number one like the main name like in UK in the scene or whatever. But he's always been there. He's always been in the conversation, and he's just had that consistency. And right now, yeah, because Dizzee is on a decline, and now it's kind of like I think he would rather be on. If he could swap with Wiley right now, he probably would.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And another thing is that Wiley's never fully sold out Grime. Like he might have done like Heat Wave and Never Be Your Woman, but he's always come back to Grime. He's never fully said, right, I'm done with Grime. I'm just gonna be commercial or whatever. So whereas Dizzee has really in it. Dizzee just said, right, you know what I mean. So I think that's I think maybe that might be a bit of an issue with Wiley as well towards Dizzee. That I never saw that Grime you did. You say you invented it, but then you just left it. You abandoned it. Yeah, like and also you know, Dizzee, what, you're an abandoned father. You abandoned your kid then, really, innit? You know what I mean? You left your kid to fend for itself while he come along. And if you did invent it, that is, there's a debate there for whether you did or not. I don't know. But if you did, then you abandoned it. And while he come along and picked up the pieces and raised it as his own.
Yeah, I know it's mad, and it's just it's strange, man. But look, you know what pisses me off the most is that none of this manifests itself in music. It's just on Twitter, or it's just on interviews, or it's on Instagram, and it never actually. You never. Where's the tracks, bruv? Where's the war dubs? Where's the clashes? Wiley's been doing this. Wiley has dropped two dubs for Dizzee in the last 12 months. He's done Flip the Table, and he's done. Oh, actually, the other one was more of a reply to Skepta, but still, you know, and Wiley's been there. He's always been like this. He's always going, well, if you want to clash, let's do it. But you know, where's that energy from everyone else? And that's the thing. Wiley's war ready. He said it years ago in that famous video. He's like, that's how I keep on my toes. I just war with people in it, and that's what he does. Like, and you know, he's been up for it. He's always, you know, ready. I feel like he's always got a war dub ready for anyone at any given time. Like he was ready to clash JK, he was ready to clash Skepta, Dizzee, blah blah blah. Yeah, but no one wants to step up to it. Maybe they're too shook because they know Wiley will destroy them because he's got this track record of being a warlord. But at the same time, I don't know why this clashing thing is disappearing. I mean, what do you think, bruv? Do you think everyone sort of thinks they're too big for it, or what?
I don't think it's that. I think that Grime's moving in a more professional way now, and Like people are starting to make waves and they're getting signed to management and they're getting put on TV a lot. Like, you know, you've had a lot of people come through and they've featured on TV and that. And it's just a point of, could it harm their career in some aspects? Whereas in other aspects, it could be, I don't want it. It could be just a case of, I don't want to clash you. You know what I mean? Like, I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. Like, I'm past that. I just want to make music. I don't want to clash. It's a shame. Don't get me wrong, because I love a good clash. You know, every year I look forward to a lot of the mics, like, because even as an older Grime fan, I'll get gassed by clashes. But I just think that some are thinking, like you said, some will think, oh, I'm going to get spun, or, you know, or like I said, I just don't want to clash you because there's no reason for me to clash you. I don't want to make you famous. I don't want you to get hype off my name, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame because I really do miss a good Grime clash. I think the last we saw was PV Dot. You know, I'm not ignoring the youngsters because, you know, the youngsters, like, there's a few of them that will be ready to war. I mean, we had Squints last Christmas, A's sent for him, and Squint sent right back, and he was like, well, come clash me, and all that. So I'm not ignoring the youngsters, but I think with the older lot, I think they're sort of ducking it a bit. I'm going to be honest. They're ducking it.
I agree, and this is what I thought about Dizzee, and I think it applies to a lot of these the bigger grime MCs because I feel like they all feel because let's be real, a lot of them are getting older now and stuff, and they're just thinking, oh, it's not, you know, they don't have the energy like how they used to, or they think they're grown or whatever. But then so what? Wiley, he's older than a lot of you, and he's always, you know. He's always got that energy. He's always got that fire. Do you know what I mean? And it's just if only more people were like Wiley, then we wouldn't be having the conversation as Grime dying so much because, like, Grime is built off clashing. Most of these names made their name through clashing. Boy in the Corner, by the way, was obviously from clashing Crazy Titch, wasn't it? But because he was the boy in the corner in that video, and then so everything to do with grime, every artist has most of them have come from, and most of them because they made their name in a clash. Look at P Money and Ghetts. Look at Bugsy Malone and Chip. Like, these are just some examples off the top of my head of people that no one knew, but then they've clashed someone, and then bang, and then they get big, And I agree with you. I think Lord of the Mics, there's always some great clashes then, and then we see artists that go big, and a lot of them you can go and look at their Lord of the Mics from 5-10 years ago, like JK for example, and you can go, oh yeah, that's where he started off. That's what he was like back then. Look how far he's come, and that's how a lot of people, made their name back in the day through clashing, and Lord of the Mics was a great platform for that. But yeah, it feels like people just don't want to get their hands dirty anymore, and that's where I have a lot of respect for Skepta because he does, like I say, he's commercial. He doesn't need to clash or anything, but he did. He replied to Wiley. And he made two dubs. I think
he also replied to Devilman when you had the old Chip v Bugsy Malone thing. Skepta took time out to reply to Devilman, but what I mean is he takes time out. He's big, and he still like has the wherewithal to send for someone if he feels that they've gone a bit too far with what they've said or whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of them, they hear it, they tweet about it, and they don't say nothing else. Like, and I'd prefer to hear like suck your mum on a dub. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, but I can understand why a lot of them don't clash now because I feel like a lot of them don't need it anymore. Like, but
yeah, it is a shame. And on Lord of the Mics, because we've mentioned that a couple of times, there was some surprising news. Jammer leaving Lord of the Mics. I think none of us were expecting that, but this seems like it's something that's been brewing for a long time, and it's sad to see because Jammer is synonymous with Lord of the Mics and has been since the very start. It started in his basement, and he said in that post, didn't he? Like, something. It's really sad, to be honest. Like,
to me, Jammer is Lord of the Mics. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how it can survive without Jammer. Like, I don't know how you feel about that, but I just don't see how it can survive without Jammer.
No, I agree. I mean, what's Lord of the Mics 9 going to be like? Who's going to be there? What's that going to look like? It's like, will it even come? Do you know what I mean? It's like this is the sort of thing that makes me worry about the future of grime. I hope whatever happens, I hope it can be resolved and Jammer goes back to the Lord of the Mics. But a lot's been said now, and it's kind of like, you know, where do we go from this?
Was it just reactionary though? Like, did he actually mean it, or was he just reacting to a certain thing that pissed him off that day?
It's I don't know. It looks pretty serious, bruv. It's not like Wiley kind of just saying or whatever. It's not like one of those things. I feel like Jammer really thought about this, and he's been pushed. He's been sort of pushed to do this. And it's sad because yeah, I mean, Lord of the Mics. That's been that is grime, isn't it? Like from Wiley clashing Kano on Jammer's concrete steps with Skepta in the background and Esco, rest in peace. It's like. So what it is now, it's like, and it's always been a platform for young grime artists. Like, and it's really damaging for the future of grime if Lord of the Mics isn't what it is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The thing is though, that I know Jammer said it's not him who handles the money side of things and that, but like Jammer's the face of Lord of the Mics. So whatever happens behind the scenes is always going to be linked back to Jammer. So all this, because I read about like MCs not getting paid and that, and that's always going to come back to Jammer, because people see Lord of the Mics as Jammer's thing. And I know he was saying there's other people involved, but it's always, and I kind of feel bad for Jammer there, because like I said, he's always going to get accused of doing wrong when it might not even be anything to do with him. So I can understand where he's coming from in terms of saying, right, I've had enough, I'm leaving. But like you said, it's just going to leave Grime, like, it's going to be a massive loss to Grime, because apart from Beat Boss, Lord of the Mics is the only time that we hear clashing. And it's just, it puts like the last CD that Lord of the Mics done had a lot of young MCs on it, and it was putting them into the limelight as well, and a lot of them are going to miss out on that opportunity now.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, yeah, Lord of the Mics is such a huge thing in grime, and yeah, it's just, yeah, and I hear what you're saying. It's like, yeah, because you're right, Jammer is the face of it, and he doesn't want to be blamed for things that he is nothing, or he says he has nothing to do with, and he has no control over. I'm going to say this now, there's always two sides to a story, so always got to bear that in mind. But from what Jammer's saying, it's like there's a lot of pagan activity going on, and like he feels like he's been hung out to dry for a lot of this, and people obviously DMing him, haven't been paid, and obviously that's a bad thing if that is happening. I don't know. It's really it's almost like a death in grime, innit? I mean, Lord of the Mics is part of the furniture. Do you know what I mean? That'd be like getting rid of Rinse or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, definitely. It's just, we've it's such a sad thing as well, because so many young MCs, not specifically young in their age, but young in their career, are gonna miss out on being on such a massive brand, like probably one of the biggest brands in grime. And it's a shame for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it throws the future of grime in jeopardy. Like how a young MC is going to get noticed. A lot of the established MCs that you see now, that they made their name through Lord of the Mics, or that was their first big bit of exposure, and they've gone on to do bigger and better things ever since.
You've had the best of Lord of the Mics: Skepta, Wiley, Kano, Big Nasty, Schoolchild. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, and now when I don't know if if we're going to be able to see those sort of things, and it's like, and that's the thing. Yeah, what you just said there, it's like, yeah, these people have been in Lord of the Mics. It's like fire in the booth as well. You go, that if you haven't had a fire in the booth, you can't, like, that fire in the booth is like a similar sort of, I would say, platform where MCs can go and get exposure and showcase what they're made of and sort of thing. But then I think it's like, yeah, because Fire in the Booth is like the freestyling sort of element, and then obviously Lord of the Mics is the clashing element, and those two things are massive in any grime artist's arsenal, if you like. And it's like, if you're taking that away, how are these MCs going to be able to show that? And you always go, this person, but he was never on Lord of the Mics, and you always want to see people tested on Lord of the Mics. It's like, it's a bit of an acid test for MCs. You can see, what they're made of. Let's throw them in Lord of the Mics in a room against another MC face to face with hundreds of people watching you. How do you deal with that? That's like a big thing, isn't it? People always go back and look at your Lord of the Mics and can use it as a good thing or criticism, and it's always a point of debate, like who won. It's definitely not going to be the same without Jammer, and if it continues at all. But yeah, sad times, man. Really sad times. Speaking of Jammer, he's been one of many names in grime to be calling out Yizzy. Where do you want to go with this one?
Well, first things first, what we got to remember is that Yizzy's a young guy. At the time, he was even younger. Now, what he done was wrong. Like, I ain't gonna take away nothing and say, oh, it was okay what he done, because what he done was wrong. But I just feel that, you know, he done it. He should have held his hands up. He should have apologized. Don't get me wrong, Yizzy. You should have apologized to Jafro and all the other MCs that you bit from. But are we really gonna hold that against Yizzy throughout his whole career? Because he's done a lot since then. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of work since then, and he's putting in the work, and he's going places. You know, how long are we gonna hold this against him? Would an apology from Yizzy, a proper apology from Yizzy, put all this to bed?
Well, I think what you said, I think this will be held against him, you know, for as long as people can remember, because you know, now everyone's going to be looking at, look, it's similar to like with Doc Rotten and Master Writer, right? Because now people are looking at all the bars and all the sort of thinking, oh shit, you know, and that's a, yeah, and it's like, ghostwriting is something that's used as, you know, you're really like criticizing someone because you can't come up with your own bars. Ghostwriting is like a big insult, really, especially to a grime MC, and it's like, and catting bars is arguably even worse because they're not even your own thing. You've just teethed that from someone. So yeah, I'm, you know, yeah, Yizzy's gone down in my estimations. There, he's gone down. I think that's a really big mark against his name, and he's, you know, I don't know if he'll be able to shake that off. And now it's kind of like now Dizzy's associated with him, so it looks bad on him, which is funny as well because Dizzy's gone and he's seen Yizzy and he's thought, I'm going to collab with him because he's like a sick up and coming artist. I can sort of be on that wave, but then now it's like, oh, you just gone and picked a guy who's been teething other people's lyrics, and it's like, you know, it's not a good look at all.
I get that, but I think Yizzy was like 15, 16 at the time. That's very young. You know what I mean? And I just think he's done so much since then. Like, how long are we just going to say? I get you that it's a mark against his name. It's always going to be there for Yizzy. It's always going to be mentioned. But can we really hate on him? Like, and say, you're rubbish, you're rubbish, you're rubbish. I mean, this guy's, he stepped on Lord of the Mics, you know. He writ his own rhymes for Mike, of course. And he cast Mike, of course. So he's obviously shown that he can do it. And his work since all that come out has shown that he can spit bars, he can write bars, he can spit bars. And he's a good young MC. How long are we going to hold it against him, really? Like,
I agree, but look, you know, if you do something, I don't care. Like, I don't care what your age is. Yeah, if you're stealing other people's bars, if you can't come up with your own bars, I don't care what your age is. Yeah, that's not an excuse. Like, look at Devlin. He was sending for Wiley when he was 17. I'm not hating on Yizzy. I mean, it's not, you know, it's a bad thing. It's just stupid. Why would you do, like, can't you just come up with your own bars? And obviously, now that he's done that, he's taken other people's bars. He did that, and yeah, you're right. He has done great things since then, and he's one of my favourite young MCs. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, man. I mean, people still bring up Skepta repeating a lyric. So if Skepta can't get away with things like that, then I don't see Yizzy shaking this off anytime soon.
no, actually, you know what the grime seems like as well. Like, no one's gonna forget that. Everyone's gonna always bring that up. It's gonna come up every 6 months or so. I'm telling you that now. Like, he's not gonna shake it. All he can do is just get his head down and keep making music, original music as well, where he hasn't bit anyone, because he hasn't bit anyone since. Like, there's been no.
Well, how do you know? How do you know that?
Well, that's a fair point.
This is the thing with something like this. It just casts
it does cast
questions
a shadow
over everything else.
It does, and I think that's something Yizzy's gonna have to learn to live with.
Yeah, and then if he ever gets in a clash, this is going to be brought up straight away and stuff like this. It's like, this is going to live with him for a long time, and it's his own fault. I know, yeah, he was young when he did it, so you got to give him a little bit of you know, sort of space when it comes to that. But I'm not having that, you know, like as a real argument, because, you know, you just don't do that. That's just one of the things you don't do in grime. Just like you don't, you know, repeat a bar, or you don't, you know, do stuff like that. It's like, you just don't do it.
You broke a fundamental rule in it, really. And also, like, I think the MCs in question, they would have went a little bit easier on him had he apologised. But because he hasn't offered no apology, I think they're just like, well, you're taking the piss. You, you,
Yeah.
you took the bars, you didn't apologise for it. Like, if you said sorry, we might have just left it there. But you didn't, so. But like, I actually like the guy. I can't hate him. I'm a lot older than him as well, so I can't hate on him. You get me? Like, I actually like him as well.
No, I agree. I like Yizzy. I think he's a good lad, and I think I think he's a really promising grime MC. I do like him. I don't, but I like Skepta, but he still repeated a bar, and I still like Dot Rotten, but he still used Master Writer. So it's just something that you're always, people are always going to bring up as something against him. Doesn't make him doesn't take away from any of his achievements, and it won't take away from his future, and it gets him more exposure. And I think the thing is though with Yizzy, I think he hasn't apologized for it, but in a way you kind of like that, innit? Because like this is what we were saying the other day. Like these young MCs don't have much personality, and he's going, nah, do you know what? I'm gonna, whatever. Like, and then I think he's getting a bit gassed. You know what I mean? Because now he's worked with Dizzee Rascal. He thinks he can say things to Wiley, which we saw on the timeline, like, oh, why don't you clap? He thinks he's got a say in this Dizzee Wiley thing when Wiley pointed out you weren't even born when this started. So, but yeah, but it's like Yizzy's been gassed up. Yeah, he's gassed himself up, and fair play, because that's what we want to see. We want to see a bit of personality and a bit of that in grime. Do you know what I mean? Something MCs have been lacking that recently, and I kind of, it's interesting the way Yizzy's taken this, and I think it's good exposure for him, if nothing else. When people like like Jammer and stuff are calling you out on it, people are gonna remember Yizzy's name even more now.
I think a bit of ego can be good sometimes, because everyone needs that bit of ego. Like, I will beat you in a clash and that, but don't talk to the likes of Wiley and Dot Rotten in that manner, because you really haven't done enough to be able to talk to them in that manner. You got to know where to draw the line. Like with MCs your own age that you feel haven't put in half as much as work as you have, fair enough. Have a bit of ego with them, but you can't disrespect the likes of Dot, because I don't know if you saw, but he was talking a bit loose to Dot Rotten as well. You can't really talk to him like that. You can't talk to Wiley like that. But a bit of ego is always a good thing. But yeah, like we said, it's always going to be a black mark against Yizzy there. But I actually like the guy, so I'm hoping that he can sort of come out the other side from it all, because at the moment you've got Funky D on your case, mate, and Funky D is just the GOAT on Twitter. So, it's,
you don't want to fuck with
no, Funky's a guy.
And if that could be a clash, and that'd be a sick, like, imagine them going back and forth. That could be that's just what we need. I'm just desperate for some sort of battle. Do you know what I mean? Like a war. Do you know what I mean? Like, we haven't had it, like you say, since P Money and Dot Rotten. Although Funky D did do some war dubs for Grim Sickers, but that kind of went under the radar. I think Yizzy and Funky D would be a big. But look, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Really, this is the thing. We keep, as us grime fans, we keep hoping that this is going to manifest itself in some sort of musical sort of form, but it never does, and that's the frustrating thing. So,
but the maddest thing I feel about all this situation is that I think Funky D can actually hurt Yizzy more just by tweeting rather than make a dub, because one tweet from Funky D about the issue, and it's getting retweeted thousands of times, and then there's hundreds of MCs are just like, whoa. Hundreds of grime fans are like, nah, that's sneaky and all this and all that, you know what I mean? So I think, like, Funky D, I don't think he has to catch Yizzy. I think he could just make one tweet and bam, everyone's at Dizzee.
No, I agree. Like, everyone, we all like a bit of timeline banter in that, but these are artists. Like, this is your career. You, like, make a war dub, bruv. Like, it's all right saying things on Twitter, but only if it kind of goes in like a musical form. That's what I think. I want to see these. If you're having a back and forth on Twitter, why can't you have a back and forth musically? Do you know what I mean?
Yizzy, he doesn't reply to Funky D, because he knows Funky would take it there. You know what I mean? He's just a funny guy. He's he knows how to rub it in when you do wrong, and I think it highly annoyed him. I think it highly annoyed him because I think that's why he made the dub for Grim Seekers, because Grim Seekers stole his bar, innit? So I think he looked at it like, well, I made the dub for Grim Seekers, so I'm not gonna let you get away with it, and I'm not gonna clash you, so I'm just gonna like send for you over Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a clash that will never happen either. That's just Funky D and Funky D.
So new music this week. We've had a new album from President T. This dropped. I was saying last week. Yeah, he's got this album dropping, and you like, when's it coming? And then I was like, I'm not sure. And then as soon as we stopped recording, he dropped it. So I've had a chance to listen to it. For me, I was a little bit disappointed because it's full of drill. President T's gone down this drill route, and nah, I'm not a fan of drill, to be fair. And President T's he's a legendary grime MC. He's been there, you know, since the start, and it's kind of like, and he's done so much, but then he hasn't got the recognition that he deserves. So, and I think I'm seeing this with a lot of grime MCs that haven't had the recognition they deserve. Temper T's another one where they've been doing lots of grime, but then not getting the recognition for it. So they're getting frustrated with that, and then switching to drill. And I don't like the way it's going, really, because I'm just not a fan of drill. I think drill's a threat to grime. However, there were a couple of decent tracks on there. Big H was on it, and that was a grime tune, and Tommy B was on it as well. So you got a bit of the old and a bit of the young there on the same album doing grime, which is always good to see. So I was kind of a little bit fearful that because Riders was a drill track, and I was thinking, is Prez going to go in this direction now, and he is.
I hope it's a one-off. I hope it's just a one-off. I hope it's just the case of him wanting to try it rather than him wanting to do it full time.
I hope so, but I kind of understand it, because Prez, he dropped 2 grime albums last year and didn't get much credit for him at all. So if that was me, I'd be getting frustrated and going, oh right, well, I'll give drill a go and see how that goes. So
that's a weird one though, because like, he's one of the biggest MCs in the game, so I don't understand why his not CDs, but his releases haven't got that much attention. It's a bit weird one to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame, man. But yeah, another track that came out this week, President T and Tommy B. So Tommy B dropped a single featuring President T, called Can't Have That, and that was pretty sick. I enjoyed that one. That was grime.
Tommy and SBK, they're the future. So anything Tommy does, I automatically rate. I think he's a superb MC. He's got everything.
Yeah, you're a big fan of him, aren't
you? Yeah. To me, like, he's just got everything. You know what I mean? He can tell the track, he can tell the story, or he can be a little bit hype. And he's only young as well. Like, the future's so bright for him. And
bare young.
He's under Sharky Major's wing as well. So you've got a vet like of epic proportions that is taken. And the future's so bright for Tommy B. I think he's going to run the scene in about 5 years.
I think so as well. I think he seems like a bright lad as well. He seems like he's got his head screwed on. Do you know what I mean? So I think, and he's got a lot of respect. You can see he's got a lot of respect for like these legends, you know. And I like the fact that he's linking up with President T and yeah, Sharky Major and people like that. And he's putting in the work as well. He was at the Grime Originals pop-up store and everything. Like he puts in the work, man.
What I like about him as well is that he come from a small town or village, whatever you want to call it, in Essex, and he's just putting in that work. He's travelling to London. Like, I've seen him tweet before about having to catch trains to London and getting back late and all that. And he's such a young guy as well, and he's willing to do that. You know what I mean? He's not acting like, oh, I'll do it once every 6 months or something. The guy's always there. He's always at Grime Originals. He's always working. And he's got the right attitude. And I just think he's brilliant. You know what I mean? I just think he's going to be right at the top.
But yeah, a couple of other tracks. So that I saw, Shorty Clocked It, produced by Teddy. That was, you know, standard sort of Shorty, decent tune that is. Yeah. Enjoying that one. And then I wanted to sort of round off the episode on Legends Don't Die by Ghetts.
Best track of the year, hands down. You know what? This is going to change every week, because last week it was D double, but this week I just think that's just like the video and the track are just superb. Like, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's such an emotional track as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful, it's spiritual, man. And you know, I think the highest compliment you could give it, and the highest compliment you could give Ghetts is that he did everyone in that video justice. Like he done all of them justice in that, and like, and that's the highest compliment you could probably give him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It takes you on a journey. I mean, we all like the odd gun bar, we like the gun bars, but when you get a track like that, it makes you like sit and listen. And when you sit and listen properly, and it takes you on that journey, to me that is a banger. That's what makes a banger.
yeah, bare emotional, man, and because I was so happy when this dropped as well because I've been waiting for this for a long time, like for weeks, because he leaked it back in might even have been September or October. Either way, it's been a couple of months since he leaked it, and I was just listening to that little leak on loop like 100 times, man. I was listening to that and just so, and then because I've been crying out because I meant to say this last week when we were talking about the Storming documentary. I've been crying out for more Storming tributes because there's not been any until this. Sharky Major dropped a track, which is unofficial and unreleased. It's called "So Long, My Brother," and that's a sick track, and no one's heard it. It's got like I found it somehow on YouTube, and it's got 500 views, and no one even knows about it. And I actually DM'd Sharky about it, and I was like, you know, and he said he's going to drop it soon. But yeah, man, I think there's not been enough recognition for Stormin since he's passed, and I'm really glad that now you know the documentary's come out. Ghetts has made this tune because Stormin, what a legend he was, and this is really done him justice. And everyone in that, I mean, you know, there was for you know Depps, Cadet, Any, yeah, Esco, Big Bars, rest in peace. There's been so many people, even people that haven't passed but have been, you know, like Crazy Titch. He's just been done over, man, and he's sat there rotting in jail, man, like just and stuff. Like Ghetts has just remembered everyone, and he didn't really have to. I can imagine Ghetts started off by just making this a track for Storming, but then all these names, and then you know he's saying, you know, for Depps, man, and all that. He's done bars for so many people, and it's just what an amazing piece of work. And the music video as well, that was worth the wait because I kept hassling Ghetts nearly on a daily basis, going, when's this dropping? When's this dropping? He's like, soon, we're shooting the video, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, cool. And it's been well worth the wait. And I agree with you, man. I mean, I think it's probably is, you have to say, the best tune of 2019, the best grime tune. Rude Kid as well, big up Rude Kid, man. What an instrumental that is as well, just that amazing. And he was in the music video behind Ghetts in the cinema as well. Like, big up Rude Kid, man. One of my favourite producers, if not the best, like right now. Like, yeah, amazing track.
Do you know what I like about it more than most? Is like when you listen to it, I can't hear anyone else spitting that apart from Ghetts. Like, I don't know why, but them lyrics, everything, it just suited Ghetts down to a T, and everything that he was saying, I can't hear anyone else on that apart from Ghetts.
No, 100%, brother. I completely agree with you. Ghetts is like born for that kind of tune. Do you know what I mean? And Ghetts is like, he's a very religious man. Do you know what I mean? And all that. So, and even things like that do make him just the perfect sort of guy to do a tune. He's just like some of the bars. My favorite bar from that track is, I pray that death don't come for me, but if it does, I'll be in good company. Like bars like that, it's like, yeah, I agree with you. Ghetts is just a perfect. And that wasn't even Ghetts flow. That was Justin Clark right there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that was so well done. It was amazing. That was perfection.
That went further than just a basic grind track. That's so much more than just a grind track. That is just I don't even know how to put it. That was his heart and soul went into that. You could hear it. I mean, just the video. The video was so basic, like, but it fitted everything what Ghetts was saying so well. There didn't have to be so much things going on in the background. Like Ghetts was just telling a tale, so, and the video suited it perfectly. Like, I just think it was all done, and I think it's brilliant.
I can imagine as well. Ghetts poured a lot of emotion into this because I remember when he first tweeted about this track, he was saying I just heard a voice note, a Storming voice note, and he just cried like a bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's what he said, and it's like you can imagine how emotional. I imagine like a lot of people have been breaking down listening to this and just being part of all of this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like with the documentary and everything, and yeah, this would have been massively emotional for Ghetts. Like he's been working on it for a long time, and you can tell he's put in a lot of effort to make this perfect, and it's really worked. And I'm so glad that everyone's recognising this as well. Wiley's sharing it, everyone's sharing it, Jammer's sharing it. It's popping off on Jerome Daily. This is it's because it deserves Storming and all the Fallen, like they all deserve this tribute, and Ghetts has done it so well, and I'm just so happy that it's getting the recognition it deserves as well. This should easily hit 1 million, I hope, and keep going, because this deserves every bit of praise and everything that it gets.
I think it's a lesson as well for people to take. If you're judging a grime, the scene on things that you read or hear, you're just gonna think straight away violence, crime, and all that. But when you watch a video like that and you listen, you actually see what these guys go through and how they feel, and you get to, like, I don't know, you just feel like you know them better as a person, innit? Because you're connecting to their feelings. Like you knowing what you're hearing, what Ghetts is saying, and you're like, no, I can feel him because I felt this way when I lost my nan. You know what I mean? And things like that. It's just, I just think it's the perfect way, the documentary in the chat, the perfect way to say, right, boom, Storming, you was a legend. It's as simple as that. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Like, can't big up Ghetts enough for that track. Like I actually, my first reaction, like I commented on the YouTube, I was just like, thank you for making this. Thank you. Like he done it. He just perfected it, and someone needed to do it, and Ghetts was like, he was just chosen to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like no one could have done it at that level. I mean, Sharky's track as well. If people haven't heard that, by the way, because I don't, going by the views, not many people have heard it at all. Go and look it up on YouTube. And I've uploaded it on SoundCloud as well. It's called So Long My Brother. Please, people, listen to that. That's also a great tribute track for Storming. But and coming from Sharky Major as well, they were best friends. Everyone knows that. But this is just something different, man. This is like, it was mainly for Storming, obviously, but he just paid tribute to so many people that needed that. Do you know what I mean? It Ghetts did an amazing job, man. He didn't forget anyone. He didn't undersell anyone. He just nailed it. There's going to be, everyone from Grime is going to universally love that tune and love Ghetts for it as well. It's amazing.
I think the whole grime scene needs a massive bit of respect for the way that they all reacted to not only the track but the video and everything Ghetts was saying. I think a lot of people took it in, and a lot of people, they respected like everything Ghetts done. So I can't big him up enough.
No, definitely. And I think as well, it's just struck me, because I was wondering why this didn't go up on Spotify and Apple Music and everything. Ghetts isn't looking to make anything out of this. He's do you know what I'm saying? It's just on YouTube. And he's just done it. He's not doing it for his own gain or anything. Probably he will release it eventually on all of that. But like, that's another thing I've noticed. It's like Ghetts is just, he's just, it's something big. He knows it's something bigger than him, what he's talking about and everything. He's really treated it with just absolutely just perfectly, man. Like this is a real testament to Ghetts as a man and as an MC and everything. Like, it's just unbelievable piece of work there.
It shows his growth as well as an artist, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't imagine Ghetts doing a track like this 10 years ago. No disrespect to it.
No, yeah, I think you're right, man. That and I think, like I said, this is Jay Clark, because he's got his thing. It's like Ghetto Ghetts, Jay Clark. This is Jay Clark. I feel like Jess as well, because he did the Jess song. That was kind of a similar kind of.
It's the man, innit? It's the man. It's the man, not the artist. It's the man.
But yeah, man, big up Ghetts for that. That was an amazing track. And like you say, I mean, probably the last episode of 2019, we'll do like a top 5 sort of thing. But yeah, it's going to be hard to
top that one.
To disagree on this one. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, man, that's it for this week, I think. So big up everyone listening. Thank you for everyone that. Thanks in advance for everyone that's going to share this, and I hope you all enjoyed it. We're enjoying recording this, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good, man, and and let's see what next week has got for Grime.
Yeah,
see what's going on, man.
Catch us here next week, innit?
Definitely follow us at GSI Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube, all of that. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Big up T.
Big up, bro. See you next week.